Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought it would be fun to go to this new store that just opened up here in Saint-Gilles-Croix-de-Vie. It's called Le Design de la Table and it sells all kinds of fabulous dishware. I'm on the hunt for a few remaining pieces for the house, and then I wanted to take you back to my kitchen to show you how to make a wonderful summer side dish called a Tian with one of the pieces I bought. All right, so let's head inside. Wow, this place looks amazing. Look at all this great dishware. Wow, these are beautiful. Look at this. Oh, I love these mugs. Isn't that great? Love how this is all set up with all these beautiful dishes and bins. Whenever I come to a store like this where there are so many beautiful options that it's easy to get overwhelmed, I usually just take it all in by doing a full spin of the place just to see what is there, and then I go back to the things that have caught my eye. That way I find it's a lot more digestible. So look at these serving platters. I love these. I think these are awesome. I could see putting a big, beautiful platter of some kind of grilled meats on this. These are beautiful. And these are all handmade. That's fabulous. These are so great. I think I need to get 2 of these. I think I'm gonna need a cart. These are great. A few of these cereal bowls, which a lot of my French relatives use as tea and coffee bowls. These are beautiful. Let's see. Those are great. Get the same style in a mixing bowl. Ooh, I wish I had room for this. Wow, and I was amazed to see that these bowls came in just about every color under the rainbow. These are really great for your tarts and your quiches. See, this is the beautiful red one over here. I love the size of these. This is like a fantastic size for entertaining. Beautiful salad bowl. I kind of need a salad bowl since I just keep using that big Limoges one, which is a little fragile for everyday salad. So maybe something like this would be good. Wow, look at this. This beautiful rolling pin. It's actually very lightweight. I would think it would be a lot heavier, but wow, isn't that beautiful? Beautiful. Look at this. Beautiful little batter pitcher. It's so lightweight too. This is beautiful. I'm wondering what else I could use this for. I don't make many pancakes in France. Love these. These are beautiful dishes. I wish I hadn't bought all of my IKEA pieces when we moved in, because this would have been the place to come. That wasn't open last year. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? That would be a really pretty set. This is beautiful for fruit or berries. If you were serving a big bowl of cherries and you wanted to kind of rinse them out, that's pretty. These would make great salad bowls too. Look at this. This is awesome. This would be great to have 2 of these. These are great for 14 euros. It's a good deal, right? This is a beauty for a quiche. That's lovely. Or if I'm really homesick and I feel like I need to make an American style pie, I could do that too. Now, another thing that you could use this for is for what they call in France a summer vegetable tian, which is those little sliced vegetables that you see beautifully displayed. It's usually made with zucchini, tomatoes, all these summer vegetables that you then put herbs on and bake. So I kind of feel like I'd love to get 2 of these. I always have to buy serving pieces in groups of 2 because we could typically be anywhere from 8 to 16 people at the table. So if we're 16, this isn't gonna do the trick. So I think I need 2. Oh, I love this. Look at this. Look how pretty this is. What a gorgeous bowl. I wonder if these could be good just for some like appetizer bowls. I think these are pretty. Oh, and look at this. Look at the coloration on that. That is really stunning. This is the type of situation where you can get so overwhelmed because there's so many great choices, and I just have to really be mindful that I don't have a lot of space left in the house for dishware, just for a few key pieces. So this might be part of that. I love these. These are in all my colors. See, the gray and the earth tones. I wonder if I have enough room for it all. On the other side of the store, I found these really beautiful covered casserole. Wow, look at this. This is really cute. This is just a really cute little covered casserole. This might be fun for a little stew of some kind, or maybe even rice. If you're serving rice and you needed something covered, this would be a great one. That's beautiful for my tomate farci when I make that in the summertime.
I was curious what the ones with the little holes were for.
Cuisiner au four.
For cuisiner au four,
Oui, oui.
I learned that these casseroles had the ability to go in the oven and that the holes in them were to allow the steam to escape. This would be great for something like a braised chicken or something that you wanted to simmer for a long time and needed the steam to escape.
This piece here is very interesting, and I was wondering, what are these lines that are on the dishes? And Karina's going to explain exactly what they are.
Vous pouvez mettre une brochette avec de la viande ou des poissons, des Saint-Jacques par exemple, avec les légumes, avec du riz.
So she says that basically you can put some brochettes here, so you could have like a coquille Saint-Jacques, or you could do some meat, and that would then allow you to have a place for vegetables or maybe some potatoes. But there's another usage for this that's very revanché à la.
The other usage is for the very trendy café gourmande, which is when you serve a little cup of coffee with an assortment of sweets, usually just a bite size.
And if you want to learn how to make a café gourmand at home, I actually have a video on my channel that will show you how, and I will link to it below. Merci, Karina. Okay, so this is a very local piece of pottery here. This would be used for your oysters. So you could put your oysters here and then put your sauce in the center. Or you could also use this for langoustines, where you would serve all the langoustines here and then put the mayonnaise in the center. This, I feel like I need to get for my husband because he loves langoustines, and we don't have anything really great like this to serve them in. So this might be a fun one. In the cart they're gonna go. Now this is really cute. I was thinking this could be good just on our little entry hall table. I just love the detail of it. I thought it could be cute just to throw some keys in, just in our front entry. I'm very happy with my purchases, but I think this is literally all I have room for right now. So we are going to stop while we are ahead.
When I got up to the register, I was in for a very pleasant surprise. So apparently everything in the store is 50% off. So the prices that you see and the prices that I gave you in the video, it's 50% off of that. So that made everything even more of a bargain. Apparently there's a sign right when you walk in that tells you so, but I was so consumed by looking at all of the wonderful selection, I didn't stop to see the sign. So everything was just that much more of a bargain. Now let's head back to the kitchen and I'm going to show you how to make that really delicious summer side dish known as a tian.
While at the store, I picked up one of these beautiful, shallow, circular dishes that have the beautiful fluted edges. Now you can make a quiche in one of these, but something I like to make with this time of year is a tian. Now a tian is very similar to a ratatouille in that they both use eggplant, zucchini, and tomatoes, thyme, garlic, olive oil. But a ratatouille is typically made on the stovetop, where a tian is typically roasted with decorative vegetables that we are going to cut with the help of a mandolin. Now if you're in the market for a mandolin, I probably wouldn't recommend a plastic one. In fact, the one that I have in LA is great. I love it. It's made by OXO. I'll link to it below. It's in my Amazon shop. That is the best mandolin. This one will get the job done, but it's a little shaky, which makes me a little bit nervous, but that's okay. I don't use it that often here, but I am gonna use it for this. For this recipe, we're gonna be using zucchini, about this size. Now the thing that you wanna know is you wanna make sure that all your vegetables are roughly the same width. So we have zucchini. We also have these beautiful eggplant that I've seen here in France. I haven't seen these too much in the States. They're called Graffiti Eggplant. I guess because they look like they have kind of like little graffiti on it. But see how they're roughly the same size? And the tomato there. So you want these long, slender tomatoes. This is actually called the Torino tomato, but you could also use a Roma tomato too. All right, these are our vegetables. We also have some garlic here that we're gonna use and some fresh thyme. So I was getting really frustrated because I was going to the market and buying fresh herbs every day, only for them to die in my refrigerator 3 days later. So I saw in France that they were selling a lot of these little pots of herbs, and I thought I would just create my own portable potager. So I basically put this in an old oyster bin, and that way I can move it around my yard, wherever the sun is, water them every day, and bring it into the kitchen when it was time to cook. So I'm gonna be using this beautiful fresh thyme that is in my little traveling potager. The first thing you want to do is cut all the vegetables. That way when we go to assemble it, we'll have all the parts we need. So this is probably the most tedious part, but it also can be the most fun part. So I think when working with a mandolin, it's best if you can cut your vegetables down a little bit. They're a little bit easier to work with. And this style of mandolin, I typically start like this first, but do not go too far hand holding it, because lo and behold, you will cut yourself so quickly because it cuts so quickly. See, you don't actually realize it, but this little piece gets shorter and shorter. So once it gets to be about like this, then I put the guard on. I just find it's a little unruly if it's too tall with the guard. So see, now I've got my guard on, and now I'm just gonna finish cutting them. You can totally cut all of these by hand. I just find that they'll cook a bit more evenly if they're really exactly the same size. And there's no other way to get that type of precision than with a mandolin. So that's why I do it. It's also kind of a good idea to start to arrange the slices by size, because once we start to escargot around, you'll see the center actually requires a little bit smaller size vegetable, and that way we'll already have it all separated. Just a little tip. Now this would be a beautiful dish to serve with roast chicken. Sometimes we serve it with some merguez. It's just a really great vegetable side dish that goes oven to table, and it looks so beautiful too. Then for the eggplant, we're gonna do the same thing, just cut it in half. Away you go.
And remember to use the guard for the last bit.
If you have ever cut yourself with a mandolin, you will never forget to use the guard again. Now for the tomatoes, I find they're better to actually cut by hand. They get a little mushy in the mandolin, so we are just going to cut them about 1/8 of an inch thick. We don't have too many to do, so this shouldn't be too bad. Now another thing you want to have prepped ahead of time is the garlic. So I'm going to use 3 cloves of garlic. We're going to use this garlic in our vegetable assembly, just little slices of it in between the vegetables. I find that when garlic is sliced like this, it just has more of a sweeter flavor. It won't be too overpowering and too garlicky. I love garlic, so I'm going to use 3. But if you're not a fan, you can pull that back to 2. Then what you want to do is just slice thin slices of the garlic like that. And as it roasts, it is going to create even more flavor to our veggies. Then another thing we're gonna do is add some sliced shallots. So I actually like to add a bed of tomato puree to my tian, which would not be very traditional probably. But I do it only because I think that sometimes the eggplant can be a little bit dry, and then the zucchini and tomatoes get a little bit watery. So I find that it needs like a base of just this tomato puree to just make the whole thing a little bit more interesting. And then I'm gonna add the shallots to that tomato puree just to sweeten it up a bit and give it a little bit of a texture. Okay, we have all of our components. We are ready to assemble our gorgeous tian. Here we go. So I'm gonna be using 2 containers of tomato puree. So it's about 400 grams. And I'll put this recipe in my description, so you also can have it there. There we go. Then you can just level it out with a spoon. We're then gonna add our shallots as a layer. And those shallots are just going to simmer in that sauce, because this dish needs to cook for at least an hour, 15 minutes. So it will sweeten up that tomato sauce, it will sweeten up the shallot. And then I also like to add a little bit of herbs de Provence, just to pay tribute to its region. There we go. Just if you don't have herbs de Provence, you could just use some dried basil, some dried thyme, a little bit of dried parsley, and you'll basically get close enough. Okay, a little bit of salt, of pepper. Here comes the assembly. We're gonna take a piece of eggplant, a piece of zucchini, a slice of tomato, and then 1 little slice of garlic. And you can hold that together, and it's just a little bit wobbly in the beginning here, but once you get going, it will begin to hold itself. So just kind of pinch it in between your 2 fingers like I'm doing here until it's steady and it can start to stand on its own. I like to put the garlic against the tomato. That way the juices from the tomato start to simmer with the garlic. And then just keep going. And I think it's easier to turn the platter as you need more room, as opposed to just kind of reaching. This does take some time, but none of it's hard, and it's actually pretty meditative. But the oohs and the ahs that you get when you bring this to the table make it all worth it. The biggest tip as you go through is just to make sure that those vegetables are really nice and snug and packed in, because they do have a tendency of shrinking a bit once you bake them. Then, when you get to the very end here, you just want to squeeze in as much as you can. So I've got 2 eggplants back to back, so I'm going to squeeze in another zucchini, another little piece of tomato. Let's see, I might even be able to get 1 more eggplant, 1 more zucchini, and maybe a very thin tomato. You just want to push it as much as you can. There's always room for 1 more. Now all we have left to do is the center. You may not be able to really snake all the way around.
I find that escargot pattern is harder to do the smaller the area you have. So you can try it, and depending on how small your vegetables are, you may succeed. But I find the better thing to do is take it as far as you can go and then pivot. See that little pivot? So I did a line here, and then now I'm going straight here, and then I'll do another straight and straight and just keep filling it in. So I'm doing all kinds of funky patterns in the center here, but as long as you keep the same pattern and you just keep wedging it in, and when in doubt, just add more tomatoes, because the tomatoes are the smallest and they really can just sort of slide in anywhere. Yeah, thank you, little assistant. That looks pretty snug. We're going to add just a little drizzle of olive oil on top. I would say maybe 2 tablespoons. There we go. Then we want to season our vegetables with a little salt and some freshly cracked pepper. Then I have my beautiful thyme here. Now, because it's pretty early in the season, these stems are pretty young and they're pretty pliable. So I would probably just cut this whole thing, stems and all, just because it's easier than having to take off each little leaf. But if your thyme is getting kind of woodsy, if you're making this in the fall, you probably don't want to do that. So the choice is yours, but because we spent so much time on our arranging of our vegetables, I am just gonna cut this stems and all because they're so pliable that no one's gonna be picking them out of their teeth. There. We are just going to put that all over the top. Okay, and there we go. This gorgeous little specimen is ready for the oven. We're gonna put this in the oven at 200 degrees Celsius, 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 1 hour, an hour 15, just until the vegetables are nice and tender and caramelized. Okay, so it's been about an hour and 15 minutes. Let's check to see if it's ready. This looks pretty good. You see all of these vegetables are beautifully cooked down and caramelized, and that tomato sauce has also simmered down. Now this would be delicious served just as is, but if you wanted to add one more summer flavor, I highly recommend adding a little bit of pesto sauce. Now you could make your own or you could use your favorite jarred sauce, but most jarred sauces are a little bit too thick and we want more of like a pesto drizzle. So in that case, I would just add a little bit of olive oil. Usually I do this when I'm towards the end of my pesto jar, or you could just put it in a bowl and then take a fork and whisk it up and then just drizzle the pesto on your tian like so. And that will give you another delicious summer flavor. And what's great about it, it also has the cheese in it. So if you don't have pesto sauce, I have also seen recipes just with a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese. You can do that too. Now, if you see this dish at your local dish store, you'll have one recipe you know how to make in it. All right, you guys, I'll see you back here next time for another French adventure. Until then, bye.